Welcome to Young Black Lives Honored. Be sure to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to leave a respectful comment below. On October 18th, 2022, just after 11:30 p.m., the Richmond County Sheriff's Office received a call from the Augusta University Medical Center with information regarding a suspicious death of an infant. Investigators soon learned that an ambulance transported 6-month-old Samson Scott to the hospital from his home at 1906 Watkins Street. At 11:11 p.m. that same night, unfortunately, Samson was pronounced deceased. When deputies spoke with his parents, 36-year-old Tyrone Christopher Scott and 23-year-old Selena Divine Tyler, they claimed to have left the infant alone in the living room in a reclining couch, kind of on his back, after watching TV for around 40 minutes. Christopher said that when he went to check on Samson, the child was unresponsive, so he called 911 and began chest compressions. The mother told deputies she was uncertain about the nature of her son's death.
Well, Laura, we just talked to one neighbor who lives right across from the Scott residence over here, and she says it's just a lot to process from all the events that happened last night. Now, while she didn't get to meet Samson Scott just yet, she says it feels all too familiar with what happened last year.
I went over there trying to, help the mom out, hold her up while they were working on the baby. His lifeless body just laid there. I knew then he was already gone. I know, being a mom, and I have 4 boys, every one of my kids have fell off the couch at some point when they were a baby. They didn't stop breathing.
According to the Richmond County Coroner's Office, an autopsy has been scheduled, and Richmond County Coroner Mark Bowen ruled the death suspicious. Both parents were arrested and charged with cruelty to children in the 2nd degree in connection with Samson's demise. The arrest warrants spoke to the conditions at the home, detailing that while under the influence of various substances, the duo had left Samson unsupervised in another room of their residence for a minimum of approximately 2 hours without food or care. The warrant indicated that the child was exposed to extreme living conditions, which included, but was not limited to, roach infestation, exposure to illegal narcotics and alcohol, broken furniture, and dangerous instruments. A review of court documents showed that over a year prior, both Scott and Tyler were arrested and charged with felony murder and cruelty to children in the 1st degree in connection to the demise of their 1-year-old son, Travis Scott. On February 13, 2021, Divine left baby Travis at home with his father, who later called her and said the child was unresponsive and not breathing. She quickly returned home, called 911, and assisted with CPR. Medical personnel managed to revive the baby at the hospital. However, unfortunately, there was no brain activity. The parents made the decision without medical consent to disconnect life support, and Travis was pronounced deceased. District Attorney Jared Williams told the media, and a review of court documents showed that the charges from 2021 were dismissed for lack of sufficient evidence to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, just 18 days prior to Samson taking his final breaths.
People who live there really have a lot of questions about how this happened.
Yeah, and they were more surprised that this happened almost 2 weeks ago. Everyone I spoke to today says they couldn't imagine something like this happening in this area of the neighborhood.
Anytime I hear about a child dying at that young age, and especially if there's any kind of suspicion that the parents are involved, it shocks me.
It's not cool to kill no child, because that's the precious gift in life. It's a child. They're the most innocent thing in the world.
For neighbors like Tom Chumley, who's a father himself, this news hits a little harder.
As a parent, I hate to see someone lose their child, and no child should go before the parent. It breaks people's heart.
During Tyrone Scott's bond hearing in Richmond County Superior Court, Assistant District Attorney Catherine told the judge that the couple's baby, Travis, was born 3 months premature, suffered from a lung disease, and required a feeding tube and a breathing tube, which were inserted in his neck. AU Medical Center staff trained the Scotts on the baby's daily care needs, and nursing care was provided 84 hours per week. After being released from the hospital following his birth, Travis had actually been brought back to the emergency room on 5 separate occasions. The parents took Travis home against medical advice on one occasion, which Selena admitted was because they did not agree with the care given. On another occasion, Travis was left unattended in the residence and not attached to the ventilator while his parents were outside the home building a fire pit. They later found him unresponsive and turning blue. He was subsequently resuscitated by EMS. The Scotts were given orders by multiple nurses and respiratory therapists not to turn off their son's ventilator. Arrest warrant stated they both went against medical orders and turned off the ventilator on several different occasions. The parents claimed that Travis would pull out his own tracheotomy tube and an alarm would not go off as it was supposed to. Doctors advised that the only way that could happen is if the tube was pulled out and then something else covered the hole in the neck to trick the machine. The parents answer that the baby would put his fingers there to cover the hole. Conversely, doctors asserted that a baby's fingers were too small to fully cover the hole, so that would be impossible. Additionally, a social worker had multiple reports of the parents stating that they would turn the ventilator off because Travis would sleep better. During the investigation, law enforcement noted several instances of neglect on the part of both parents that led to Travis's passing. They said that when they searched the home following his demise, the residence smelled like marijuana and smoke, evidently bad conditions for a child with a lung disease. Prosecutors said there was no bedding on the crib. It looked like the baby had been sleeping on a pad on the floor and the house was in disarray. Several nurses said that the home was dark and damp, while pictures showed a lack of organization, including clothes and dishes in piles. They later refused to return to the residence due to the environment. The coroner ruled that Travis's cause of death was hypoxic brain injury from lack of oxygen. Both parents were granted $60,000 bonds. Tyrone was issued a $50,000 bond on the murder charge and $10,000 bond for a child cruelty charge. Selena was issued $30,000 bond on each charge, and each of the parents were released on the charges, which were ultimately dismissed. I will be following the outcome of Samson's case, and I am intrigued to see if charges in Travis's passing will be brought back up. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an update. Additionally, I've also started shorter episodes on TikTok, so be sure to find Young Black Lives Honored on TikTok for bonus mini episodes. May the family and friends of Travis and Samson Scott find solace in the happy memories, and may their souls rest in perpetual peace. Thank you.